Good morning, dear children. So today we are going to start the lesson, The Tiger King, written by Kalki. This lesson appears in your Vista's book. This lesson is written by a Tamil writer named Kalki, and his original name is Ramaswamy Iyer Krishnamurthy. That is the full name of this writer. He's a Tamil writer. And it's very important to know the time span in which this man has lived. From 1899 to 1954. So remember, during this time we had the Britishers over here. They were ruling us. And the impact of English language, or else the language English, was imposed on Indians too. So it was in that time that this man Kalki, or else Ramaswamy Iyer Krishnamurthy, lived. So at that time we had different number of kingdoms being ruled by different kings, and the crown princes there. Like that was the situation prevalent. And you know, the kings, they were under the control of the Britishers. They obeyed all the instructions being given by them. If they are denying any of the orders, naturally you know what happens, and their kingdom is being brought under the control of the Britishers too. So you're going to come across such situations here in this particular lesson, the Tiger King. So basically this Tiger King is actually a satire on the pride and stubbornness of those people who are in power. So satire, what's a satire? I hope you know. It's the use of humor to expose and criticize the people's stupidity. So that comes as a theme of this particular lesson. And in this lesson we are going to see a king whose death at the hands of a tiger is being predicted by the astrologer. So the king is trying to reverse the fate. He's completely trying to reverse the fate. Whether he was successful or not, let us see. So the first paragraph, that itself tells you the hero of the story. So who is the hero of the story? It is the Maharaja of Pratipantapuram. He happens to be the hero of the story. And he is being identified as His Highness Jameda General Kileda Major Sadavyagra Samhari Maharajadiraja Vishwabhuvana Samrat Sajilani Jung Bahadur MAD ACTC or CRCK. So these are the different names in which he is being identified. So that itself suggests how great a ruler he was. That is the reason why he is having this much number of names. But anyway, thank God, we can actually shorten his name as the Tiger King. So these are the important things that you learn in the first paragraph itself. So the hero is being introduced here, the Maharaja of Pratipantapuram, and the different names in which he is known is also clear here. His Highness Jameda General Kileda Major Sadavyagra Samhari Maharajadiraja Vishwabhuvana Samrat Sajilani Jung Bahadur MAD ACTC or CRCK, and remember his name is being shortened as the Tiger King. And here we have a question two, who is the Tiger King? So Tiger King, he is the Maharaja of Pratipantapuram, and how come he is being known? All the different names is being given here. And then why does he get that name? That we'll learn as we move on with the lesson. We'll learn why he is being called by that name. In the second paragraph, you're getting a discussion. So in the second paragraph, what happens is that the narrator is trying to provide you some information. See, he has come forward to tell the story of the Tiger King. And he is not anyway pretending to stop the story before its completion. He'll complete it in one way or the other. Before that, he won't ever leave. So he'll be telling the story. Even if there is a Stuka bomber who is actually preventing him from telling the story, he won't stop himself. Let the Stuka bomber move away. Stuka bomber, it's actually a German fighter aircraft. So if they are coming and threatening the narrator, at that time also the narrator won't ever leave from the job of telling the story of the Tiger King. So that is what is mentioned in the second paragraph. Moving on to the next. So in the next paragraph, what he is telling is, see, in the beginning itself, it's not that good to tell the vital importance or else the important thing regarding the Tiger King. So he'll be telling it soon. And everyone, as you move on, while you read, you'll feel like meeting this Tiger King, because that much courageous person he is. But one thing is there, the narrator is telling that unfortunately he is no more. But that the desire to meet the Tiger King can't be fulfilled at all. Why? Because the Tiger King is no more. And to explain that the Tiger King is no more, he is bringing an allusion here. Allusion, I hope you know, remember the literary device allusion. What is allusion? Allusion is an indirect or else a passing reference. Here the reference is being brought out from Ramayana. See, as Bharata said to Rama about Dasharatha, the Tiger King has reached the final abode of all living creatures. Remember, while Rama was in exile at that time, his father passed away, and it was Rama's brother Dasharatha who told or else who informed Rama that the father passed away. They told like this, as everyone, we are human beings, right? Once we are born into this world, naturally we have to die one day. So like that, King Dasharatha has reached the final abode. That was the information passed on by Bharata. So the same thing is being, that same context is being taken in to explain that the Tiger King has also passed away. Moving on to the next paragraph. In the next paragraph, it is being mentioned, see, the manner of the death. It is the manner of the death of this Tiger King. It's something extraordinary. But the narrator tells that he'll explain it or else he'll reveal it only towards the end of the tale. Because, you know, it's a suspense. And he's also pointing out that the Tiger King, when he was born, the astrologers foretold that one day the Tiger King would actually have to die. That we people also know, right? That is, once we are born into this world, naturally we will have to die. It's a truth. Everyone who is born into this world will have to die one day or the other. The astrologers too predicted like that. And the prediction goes on like this. See, the child will grow up to become the warrior of warriors, hero of heroes, champion of champions. So like that, the astrologer was actually coming up with his prediction. The child will naturally, it is sure that he'll be the warrior of warriors, he'll be the hero of heroes, champions of champions. But, so something prevented him from continuing this. And when forced, you know, it is after all the crown prince that was born. So naturally everyone will be forcing the astrologer to tell what it is. So at that time, when compelled, the astrologer continued. It's actually a secret which was not supposed to be revealed at all. But anyway, since you all are forcing me to speak out, I'll tell you the truth, what it is. So the continuation of the prediction goes like this. The child born under the star will one day have to meet its death. So that was the next part of the prediction told by the astrologer. As I told earlier, it is actually a truth, a thing that happens for everyone. A person who is born under a particular star will have to meet its death. That is sure. That is of course clear for everyone. So at that time a miracle happened over there. What is the miracle? Let us see. A 10-day-old Jilani Jangjang Bahadur, he started speaking. Remember, it's not 10 months, it is a 10-day-old baby who is speaking. That is, while the baby was listening to the prediction being told by the astrologer, maybe the baby even got irritated. Even we got irritated, right? See, how can it be a prediction that this Tiger King will die one day? How can it be a prediction like that? Even we thought. So it seems as if the 10-day-old Crown Prince Jilani Jangjang Bahadur, even he got irritated, it seems, and he commented, "Oh wise prophets." So he addressed the astrologers who were over there. And the natural reaction of the astrologers, I hope you can understand. That is, they all were really surprised. They really don't know what is going on. They couldn't believe what they have seen and what they have heard. So what happened was that, to make it confirm, the boy once again commented, the 10-day-old Jilani Jangjang Bahadur, he continued his speech. "Oh wise prophets, it was I who spoke. So don't worry, it was me who had spoken." Like that he continued. So this time the astrologers made it sure that they have listened to a 10-day-old baby. So this is basically a story. So please don't ask me, how can a 10-day-old baby speak? And that is why it is being marked as a miracle too. So this time there was no grounds for doubt, and it was an infant, that was just a 10-day-old baby who had come up with such comments. The chief astrologer, right now, see, have a look, the reaction of the chief astrologer. He took off his spectacles and gazed intently at the baby. So that was the reaction of the astrologer even. So the baby continued its speech. What is the comment made by the baby? Let's see. "All those who were born will have to die." We don't need your predictions to know that. There would be some sense if you could tell us the manner of the death. Even that is that is really important, isn't it? They should actually tell us. If it is a prediction, it means that they have to tell on which manner the death of this man is going to happen. So like that the boy commented. See, it will make some sense if you could tell us the manner in which the death happens. So like that commented the 10-day-old boy. So that was the comment made by the 10-day-old Jangjang Bahadur. And the chief astrologer, he really got surprised. See, remember, a baby barely 10 days old actually opens its lips in speech. So how can it be? And that to remember, it raised an intelligent question too, isn't it? It was rather an intelligent question. How can it be? So the chief astrologer took his finger off his nose and fixed his eyes upon the little prince. And then the prediction continues, because the baby asked to make it clear the manner in which his death is going to happen, isn't it? So what happens is that the astrologer started continuing with his prediction. So the prediction goes like this. "The prince was born in the hour of the bull. The bull and the tigers are enemies, and therefore death comes from the tiger." So that was the prediction. This king, or else the tiger king, or else Jilani Jangjang Bahadur, his death is going to happen from that of a tiger. That was the prediction made by the astrologer. So in that manner, the astrologer came up with a prediction that had some sense or the other. Even we got some idea or the other, isn't it? Or else even we were really confused on how can it be a prediction. So remember, that was the prediction made by the astrologer. What was the prediction? The prince was born in the hour of the bull. The bull and the tiger are enemies. Therefore, death comes from the tiger. In that manner, he explained. Moving on to the next page. So at that time, after listening to the astrologer's prediction, maybe you people will be thinking that the 10-day-old baby, it might have got scared after listening to the word tiger. But really sorry, the baby didn't react like that at all. As soon as it heard, or as soon as the baby heard the word tiger pronounced, the crown prince gave a deep growl. That was the reaction of the crown prince. And terrifying words emerged from his lips. What are the terrifying words that emerged from his lips? Let tigers beware. So that was the prediction, and that was the reply from the part of the crown prince. Let the tigers be afraid of me. I am never afraid of the tigers. In that manner goes the prediction. That manner goes the reaction of the crown prince. So that was the first part of the lesson. In the first part of the lesson, we have seen the birth of the baby, of the crown prince, then the different names of the tiger king, and about the prediction too. These are the things that we have discussed in the first part of the lesson. Now moving on to the second part of the lesson. Crown Prince Jung Jung Bahadur grew taller and stronger day by day. So you could see as he grew up what all things happened is being mentioned in the beginning of the second part of the lesson. And there it is clearly mentioned that other than the miracle that happened on the 10th day of the crown prince, no other miracle happened in his childhood. So that was the only miraculous thing that happened. That is, on the 10th day, the baby started speaking. That too, he raised intelligent questions. That was the thing that was shown in the first part, isn't it? Now the second part actually tells that no other miracle happened or is marked in his childhood. And as usual, like that of the other crown princes there in our country, he too grew up in a different way. See, what did the royal infant grow up to be? The answer appears over here. The boy drank the milk of an English cow, was brought up by an English nanny, tutored in English by an English man, saw nothing but English films, exactly as the crown princes of all the other Indian states did. So altogether an English scenario. That is what we can understand. See, the boy drank the milk only of an English cow, then he was being tutored or trained by an English man, and he was brought up by an English nanny. So altogether an English atmosphere was created, and it is being done exactly like this for all the other crown princes of all the other Indian states too. That was the situation in India. And at the age of 20, what happened at the age of 20? At the age of 20, the state which had been with the court of wards until then came into his hand. So at the age of 20, he became the king of Pratipantapuram. Until then, the state was actually under the control of a group, a legal body. Court of wards. Court of wards. What do you know about court of wards? Court of wards is actually a legal body created by the East India Company. Actually like a model similar to that of the court of wards that existed in England in 1540, from 1540 to 1660. And why is this court of ward, or else what is the thing going on when it is told that court of wards is being applied? Court of wards is actually to protect the heir and their estate or else their property when the heir deemed to be a minor. So if the crown prince is a minor, then naturally there will be a legal body to protect his kingdom as such. So at the age of 20, what happened was that he automatically turned out to be the king of Pratipantapuram. So like that goes the beginning of the second part of the lesson. And there was a prediction when he was 10 days old, isn't it? So even if the crown prince or else his family forget about this prediction, the common people they won't be ever able to forget the prediction made by the astrologer. So what happened was that they started talking or else discussing about the prediction. See, will our king be killed by a tiger? Something like that. They had a discussion among each other, and the discussion continued, and it slowly came to the ears of Maharaja too. So Maharaja thought about the prediction once again, and he thought, see, there are anyway different number of forests there in Pratipantapuram, and even it had different number of tigers too. And the Maharaja is thinking, see, to kill a tiger, that too for self-defense. You can actually, it's never a crime at all. You can kill even a cow in self-defense. Well, then why can't I kill tigers? Like that he thought, and he started going out for a tiger hunt. So in that manner, the king, after 20 years after listening to the prediction. It's not actually purely based on the discussions that he heard from the common people, but still he thought of the prediction and he decided that he'll go for a tiger hunt. So what happened was that the Maharaja, he was really happy when he killed the first tiger. The Maharaja was thrilled beyond measure when he killed his first tiger. And remember, who actually predicted that he'll be killed by a tiger? It was the astrologer, isn't it? So naturally, what happened was that he sent for the state astrologer and showed him the dead beast. See, now, what are you planning to tell? Like that, he demanded. So astrologer, when he came across the dead body of a tiger, so what happened was that he told, Your Majesty, you may kill 99 tigers in exactly the same manner. But again, what happened was that he just stopped in between. He was afraid to continue, it seems. So, Your Majesty, you may kill 99 tigers like the way in which you have killed the first tiger. But remember, like that he was about to, but he prevented himself from telling. But anyway, the king forced, and so the astrologer continued. You must be very careful with 100 tigers. So that was the comment made by the astrologer. Your Majesty may kill 99 tigers in exactly the same manner, but you must be very careful with 100 tiger. So like that goes the reply of the astrologer. So it means that maybe that even if the king is so courageous, he has to be really careful. It is very difficult. It will be really difficult for him to handle the 100 tigers. So like that goes the prediction, or else like that goes the reply of the astrologer. So the king, let us listen to the reply given by the king. What if the 100th tiger were also killed? So after killing the first tiger, it seems as if the tiger king has turned overconfident, and he very well know that he can manage that thing too, and that is the reason why he is asking. So what if I kill the 100th tiger also? Listen to the reply made by the astrologer. Then I'll tear up all my books on astrology, set fire to them. That was the reply given by the confident astrologer, because he was sure that his prediction is true. That is the reason why he is telling, see, if such a thing happen, if you manage to kill the 100th tiger, then I'll just tear up all my books on astrology and I'll set fire to them. And then he didn't stop. He's just continuing. I shall cut off my tuft, crop my hair short, and become an insurance agent. So rather than continuing as an astrologer, what will I do? I'll just tear all my books, I'll set fire to them, and after that, I'll cut off my tuft. Tuft is a hair. See, usually the Brahmins or else, they'll be having a bunch of hair over here which is being tied up, isn't it? So that is what referred to as tuft. So he'll cut off his tuft, he'll crop his hair short, and rather than becoming an astrologer, he'll become an insurance agent. So it is in that manner he comes up with this reply. So that was the second part of the lesson. So in the second part, what we come across is, as he grew up, what was the situation provided to him, and at what age he became the king, and what did he do, or else what is he planning to do to reverse the fate. What is he planning to do? We have seen that he has started hunting tigers. He has killed one and showed the dead tiger to the astrologer, and the astrologer told, what was the reply from the astrologer's side? You may kill 99 tigers like this, but anyway you have to be really careful with the 100th tiger. That was the reply given by the astrologer. And even he was so sure that he told, if it goes wrong, naturally what is he going to do? He's going to give up his profession. He'll turn out to be an insurance agent. Like that he concludes. So that was the second part of the lesson. Now moving on to the third part of the lesson. From that day onwards, it is told it was celebration time for all the tigers inhabiting Pratibandhapuram, because we know the tiger king is planning to kill all the tigers there in Pratibandhapuram. So he started hunting and started killing tigers one by one. And to prevent anyone else from killing tigers, because he need 100 tigers, isn't it? So it will be very difficult to get 100 tigers all together. So to prevent anyone else from killing tigers, what he did, let us see what are the different things that he had done. The state banned tiger hunting by anyone except the Maharaja. So what happened? Tiger hunting is being banned. It can be done, but only by the Tiger King, not by anyone else. And even a proclamation or else an announcement or else an order was issued to the effect that if anyone dared to fling so much as a stone at a tiger, all his wealth and property would be confiscated. So what happened? If anyone even plans to throw a stone at a tiger, what happens is that all his wealth and property will be taken by the government. It will directly come under the control of the king. So like that goes the order. And even he has taken a vow, a pledge, that he would attend to all the other matters only after killing the 100 tigers. After killing 100 tigers only, he will be taking care of all the other matters that are going on there in his kingdom. Do you think that as a king he was doing something right? He just gives importance to his selfish thoughts, isn't it? So initially the king seemed well set to realize his ambition. Why? Because tigers were readily available. Even in the beginning it is told that there were innumerable number of forests there in Pratibanthapuram. So it was really easy for him in the beginning to find out tigers and to kill tigers. But don't think that it is so easy a task to kill tigers. Why? Because tiger, a deadly, dangerous creature, it is a wild animal, it is. So not that he faced dangers, not that he faced no dangers. There were at times when he missed his bullet, and there were at times the tiger leapt upon him and he fought the beast with his bare hands. So like that, dangerous situations were there, but thank God, each time it was the Maharaja who won. So Maharaja was that much courageous enough or else that much brave enough to kill a tiger, kill all the tigers, or else he managed with all the other situations. The obstacles that he had come across while killing the tiger, he managed to. And at one time what happened was that he was in a danger of losing his throne. Why? Because let us see why. What is the reason why, or else what was the threat that he faced that time? A high-ranking British officer visited Pratibanthapuram, and he was really fond of tiger hunting too, and he wanted to go for a tiger hunt in Pratibanthapuram. So his real desire, is that he wants to take a photograph with a dead tiger that he had shot. So that was the desire of this man, and this man is planning to kill tigers that are there in Pratibanthapuram. So what happened was that the request was put forward to the king of Pratibanthapuram. Naturally, the British officer should take a permission from the person who is in charge of the kingdom, isn't it? So the request was put forward, but will our king agree to the request? No, because he wants to kill tigers, isn't it? So he was not ready to agree to that particular request, so he refused permission. And he is telling, you can organize any other hunt. You may go for a boar hunt, you may go for a mouse hunt, maybe even a mosquito hunt. But anyway, tiger hunt, that is not possible at all. So that was a reply from the side of the king. So king was not ready. The king was never ready at all to accept the request put forward by the high-ranking British officer. Even he showed courage to tell a no to the British officer. The next paragraph. The British officer's secretary, what did he do? He sent word to the Maharaja through the Diwan that the Durai, Durai is actually the British officer. The high-ranking British officer is being referred to using the word Durai. So what was important for this Durai was a photograph of himself holding the gun and standing over the tiger's carcass. Carcass here means dead body. So that was the desire of Durai, or else the British officer. What he wanted, it is a very simple request of him. He didn't want to personally kill the tiger as such. What he wants is a photograph of himself holding the gun and standing over the tiger's dead body. That was the desire. That was the only request put forward. He need not even kill, or else he doesn't want to go for a hunt too. He simply wanted a photograph. So usually it happens like that. I mean, you could see different number of, at that time, especially in the 1800s, it was really proud for a particular family to have such a photograph there in their room, in their living room. They really appreciate such photographs. And the same thing, it is being shown in this particular lesson by the writer, Kalki. So Maharaja, let us see whether he has agreed to that particular proposal. He was not ready to accept that proposal too. Why? Because if he turns out to be mild in the request, towards the request, the other British officers also may turn up like this. They may even come up and ask, see, even I don't want to go for a tiger hunt, just want a photograph, like that. So many other requests can come up. There is such a tendency. So the Tiger King wants to prevent such things to happen, and because of that particular reason he denied the request. So denying a British officer means naturally he's welcoming a danger as such, isn't it? So the Maharaja stood in danger of losing his kingdom itself. So naturally, you know, when such a situation comes up, the king will have discussion with his people, isn't it? People there in the court. So same thing happens over there too. The Maharaja and the Diwan had held deliberations. Deliberations means discussions over this issue. And after the discussions, what they did, let us see. He sent a telegram to a famous British company of jewelers in Calcutta. So what was the content? Sent samples of expensive diamond rings of different designs. So they decided to collect different samples of expensive diamond rings. So what is their idea? Let us see. So when they sent such a telegram, what happened was that some 50 rings arrived. Got the idea? Almost 50. Remember, it is a 50 expensive diamond rings. It arrived, and the Maharaja, what he did was, he sent the whole lot to the British officer's good lady. The British officer, the high-ranking British officer, he had his wife with him. So what the Maharaja did was to take this lady in hand, so that maybe after presenting this expensive ring, she'll be really happy, and the British officer will also be happy, and there won't be much danger of losing his kingdom too. In that thought, he sent the whole 50 rings to the British officer's good lady. The king and the minister expected the Durai Sani. Durai Sani is the lady, or else the wife of the British officer, is being referred to as Durai Sani. So what they expected was that the Durai Sani will be choosing one or two rings and will be sending the other rings back. That was what the minister as well as the king expected. But did it happen? Let's see. Remember, you have sent 50 rings to a lady. You can see, you can think whether they'll be sending or not. You will already might have got an answer, isn't it? So within no time at all, the Durai Sani sent her reply. Thank you very much for your gifts. So she accepted the whole 50 rings as a gift for her. That was a reply from the side of the Durai Sani. And even after 2 days, what happened was that a bill of 3 lakhs of rupees. 3 lakhs of rupees at that time, it was really a huge amount. Now also it's a good amount, but still at that time you can understand what the situation is. So a bill of 3 lakhs of rupees came from the British jewelers. The Maharaja was happy that though he had lost 3 lakh of rupees, he had managed to retain his kingdom. So he was so happy that even if he had lost that much an amount, he could manage to get his kingdom back. So that was the third part of the lesson. With this we have covered the first 3 parts of the lessons. In the first part, what we have come across, remember, it was the birth of the king is being mentioned. The first part, the beginning of the lesson, you could see we have seen the birth of the Tiger King. Not the birth, actually his name is being mentioned. The Maharaja of Pradipantapuram is being mentioned, that he is a hero of the story, and then the different names of him is being mentioned. What are the different names of this King, His Highness Jameda General Kileda Major Satavyagra Samhari Maharajadiraja Vishwabhuvana Samrat Sir Jalani Jungjung Bahadur MAD ACTC or CRCK, like that those are different names of the Tiger King and how he is being shortened as a Tiger King, even that we have come across. And we have met a narrator over here, and the way in which he addresses us, don't you feel that we have even met such a narrator in the last academic year? Maybe in the snapshot textbook you might have listened to such a narrator who talks to us like this. You remember the lesson? Just let me know. Okay. So we have met a narrator who tells that he will surely complete the lesson. Nothing can prevent him from stopping telling his story. Like that we have met the narrator. And then we have seen the 10-day-old, when the Tiger King was born. On the 10th day, the astrologer predicted that this Tiger King will die one day. And on that particular day itself, the 10-day-old Jalani Jungjung Bahadur commented that, see, it will make some sense if he could tell that the manner in which the death is going to happen. And at that time, the astrologers were really astonished to see a 10-day-old baby talking, and then even the way in which he raised an intelligent question, even that we have seen. So based on the request of the baby, the astrologer completed the prediction. That is, the prince was born in the hour of the bull. The bull and the tiger are enemies, and therefore death comes from a tiger. So he grew up, and you could see, he grew up into a young prince, and then at the age of 20, he got his kingdom in his hands. And we have seen that at that time he started thinking of killing tigers. So he killed the first tiger and informed the astrologer the same. So the astrologer repeated, see, you may kill 99 tigers like this, but anyway not the 100. You have to be really careful while dealing with the 100 tiger like that. That the astrologer commented, and you could see that from that time onwards it was celebration time for the tigers there in Pratipantapuram. So he started killing the tigers one by one, and at every time it is not that easy to kill a tiger. At times he faced some obstacles too, but anyway he managed, and you could see he almost stood in danger of losing his kingdom too. And at that time, after having a discussion with Divan, he managed to overcome that situation by sending gifts to Durai Zani. Thereby he managed to help himself retain his kingdom. That was what we have learned. Hope it was clear for everyone. Thank you, children, and have a nice day.